What's going on, ladies and gents? Before we start off with the video, I want to remind everybody last few days before the codes expire. As a matter of fact, they expire tomorrow after reset, so please click that support button so I can send you guys some codes. If you're an existing supporter, the codes are already in your mailbox. Please go and get them. Use them now before it's over. Remember, guys, it's one code per account per season. It doesn't get more than that. All right. I know a lot of you guys who are new are asking, where's my code every day? It doesn't work that way. You get one code per code, I should say. So there's a total of 5 codes that we've sent out this season. If you just joined recently, you probably only got 2, but it's only one code per account. No matter who you get it from, it's always going to be the same code. You can only use one per account from any single person that you get it from. So I want to clear that air up there, and let's get on with the video. What's going on, ladies and gents? Before I continue on here with the Guild Boss video, which I want to give a big shout out to Ryan, aka Holy Hell, who put this together masterful, and we're going to go through it step by step. I want to remind everybody, if you are into card opening, chasing big cards, I've got a brand new channel that I opened up called For the Chase. I'll put this in the description. If you want to join me, I'll be doing this on this channel going forward. Any of the cards that I pull, any of the videos I put together for card openings will be happening on this channel. It's a brand new one. I'm going to try it out, see how it goes, and I'm going to still do some openings on the main channel as well. Now, let's go to the actual Guild Boss strategy. Now, we know this is going to be Fakna. I hate this boss, so fuck now. But Ryan loves this boss, and Ryan's done an incredible job of putting this together. So again, big shout out to Holy Hell for doing this, and also the combined guild of Zaf and mine put together now, which we have 2 now guilds separated, and they're doing amazing. So let's give you the full breakdown. Now remember, the premise here will still work, but in order to maximize the damage, you're going to need to do a couple of major things. So number one, remember what I told you guys from day one, not to ever get rid of your SRs? Well, I didn't listen to my own advice. Ryan clearly listened, and he kept his SR, and he's got an A10 Night Killer. That's right. This right here is going to be one of the major components to this fight, and you're going to need it in order to boost up all of your defense penetration, which is the majority of what this fight is about. But there is more components, of course. You're going to need the Fire Fan also to maximize. And in this part over here, you ideally just want to have the main things that matter. So first off, your stats. 220 intelligence, 504 strength, very important. The reason why intelligence is into it, of course, will help you out, plus reduction of your cooldowns, which you're going to do quite often. And this is a DPS build Sung Jin Woo, by the way. You have Reawakening, Boss Layer, Sharp Perception, and then of course you have the shields right here with life, more shield over here with basic attacks, and then the rest is just whatever you want to put in there. In regards to skills, he's got Detonation Dagger Toss. I think it's called Detonation. I'm trying to remember what it's called. And then this one over here is Sonic Explosion. This is from the Sonic stream. And then, of course, your ultimate, Shadow Step, and then the Fire Surge. I think it's called Surge. I'm pretty sure this QTE. And then Overkill over here. Okay, so a couple other things you want to make sure you understand is that you have to have a very good balance of stats here. It's going to matter quite a bit. So stats-wise, here's what you want to look like. You're going to go with Precision. 90% works, 88% works. It doesn't really matter in this case. It's a low-end boss. 50k for at least attack. Okay, now remember, this is very whaley. This is a very whale account. Again, this is a big fat whale. That's right, Ryan, I'm calling you that. But nonetheless, the same premise can be applied. The major things to remember is attack needs to be high. His critical rate definitely could be a little bit higher, but it's a balancing act, right? Crit hit damage about 200%. This one is what matters the most, is defense penetration, specifically for Fakna, right? Defense penetration is going to be where most of your damage is going to come from, and it's something you absolutely want to push to 40+% if you can. Now, Night Killer will really, really help you as well, too, because of the stacks of the Night Killer debuff that you put on Fakna, but that by itself as a flat stat you want, and the damage increase 20 to 25. The more you have, the better it is, of course, right? So there you guys go. That is the setup for Sung Jin Woo. Now, in terms of his outfits and what you want to wear is you want to do Armed and probably either Expert or Obsidian. We'll see what Ryan has. And this is the team setup here. You guys can see primarily Fire. Cha's there for the branded debuff, so she provides that. She can also do a little bit of damage as well. And then, of course, Lee Bora is there for Charmed and the extra bonus from her weapon that people can provide. And then, of course, the Fire team is set up this way in order to do the maximum amount of damage that they possibly can. So you guys can see here, Yusuhyun is used instead of Kanae because Kanae is built for Ant Queen. Yusuhyun's built for Fakna, okay? And here you guys go. Here's the setup, right? So armor set is going to be the Lion set, which is defense penetration built, and then you have the Expert set. Now Emma has full-on Greed. Essel has full-on Desire, and then Gina has Guardian and Sylph. And then you guys can see that's all set up perfectly this way. You can probably do Desire and Greed here as well too, and alternate, but it's up to you on that one. And then same thing with Yusuhyun. She does not benefit from extra very much, so you want to go armor, Lion set armor, and then you will go Obsidian. Again, Lion, expert, and then you have the wish set. Okay, that is the armor setup for everybody. This is important, guys. The more defense penetration you have, the better. Don't forget that. Now, core wise, you guys can see SJW has the usual cores. Nothing really changes here. Attack percentage, shield with ultimate, and then I believe this one's gain your ultimate faster with basic attacks. Emma here has the ultimate gain crit, shield, MP consumption. This is just obviously for stat purposes. Same thing here, same as SJWs. Same thing here, same as SJWs. Same thing here, same as SJWs. Now, Cha here really does need the MP recovery. You want to have roughly about 7.1 to 7.5 MP recovery if you possibly can for her. You'll see in the fight itself, she does run out of MP fairly quickly. So very important, guys, to push that MP recovery for her as much as you possibly can. If you think anybody eats MP, nobody eats MP faster than Cha. It's absolutely insane. Maybe except for Kanae. And then, of course, Libora, same thing as SJW again, except you want the MP reduction there as well, too. Very important because this fight lasts a very long time. Now, in regards to the setup for your hunters, you guys can see over here, we have ourselves the stats. Okay, so again, 99% precision, very, very common for most hunters. Critical hit, 50%. Don't forget, whoever has the highest critical hit on her team will get her attack bonus. It's not that much, but it's there. Defense penetration, again, 41.9, 207%, and 20% there. Again, very important to push that defense penetration for all of your characters. And this is going to pretty much be the ebb and flow, guys, across the board. Everyone's around 37 to about 40-something%. If they can be, Yusuyon being the most important, of course, being the biggest damage dealer, 45%. You guys can see she's up there. And then you see damage increase doesn't really matter for her because she gets the bonus from defense pen to her damage increase, allowing that. But MP consumption is about 3.7k, allowing you again to conserve MP throughout the whole fight so you don't run out. And then here you guys can see defense pen doesn't really matter that much, but 7.1 is really, really high. I know a lot of you guys will be like, how the hell do I achieve that? Well, you got to get the right artifacts and the right cores. Cores will help you the most. So just push MP consumption because you guys can see here, defense penetration for her, not that important. She's there for one reason, and that is keeping the debuffs up on the opponent, and that's her job, okay? Cha, now you can do a little bit of a mixed bag. She is there for debuffs, but she can also do some damage with her defense pen and damage increase, and as well, her MP consumption is 7.4. You guys can see it's quite a bit, and at the end, you'll notice that she will run out of MP very, very quickly. And then lastly, we have Gina here, who has a little bit of extra defense pen. She'll throw in some damage here and there, but she's really there for the debuffs and the buffs on the characters. All right, so there's your lineup, guys. Let's get into the fight. All right, guys, we're in the fight. So a couple of things to note about this. So first off, you want to get as many stacks as you can for the Night Killer, okay? You want to get as many as you possibly can for that, so your defense penetration skyrockets. Another thing you want to do here, because of all the high defense pen, you actually don't need to waste any time doing shadow step. So you're going to notice, guys, in this battle, shadow step is something that's not going to happen whatsoever. And whenever you do your core attack, you want to make sure the core attack is done with the fan, so you guys can stack as much fire damage increase as possible on the boss. Okay, so you guys can see here, and you want to do this surge right here, this attack, whenever the other two cooldowns are down, like up. Don't use this unless that's the only reason why. Don't interfere with the rotation with surge. It's just bonus damage for you to do that. Okay, so very, very important, guys, you maintain that. Now you guys can see down here, he's only got 9 stacks. You ideally want to start off with 10. So Ryan missed 1 stack here to maximize the amount of damage. Every 5 stacks you do on the boss with that skill, he will actually take a damage increase. Because he only got 5 and then 4 right after, you only got the 1 damage increase, not the 2, because it does stack. Okay, so keep watching here. You guys are going to see how the rest of this fight goes out, okay? So you can see he's just rotations working out the same way. Again, doing as much damage as he can with Night Killer. And then he'll switch out to the fan. And then again, doing the fan skills. And then right up here, you guys can see all the extra Prey of the Week, etc. that's going on here. This is Yusuyoon's fire defense, fire damage up. She's getting some burns on here, etc. Right, there's Charmed right there, there's Branded, so everything's working in tandem as it's supposed to, and the rotation continues going this way. So whenever you have a core attack, you want to always use the fan, okay? So use the fan whenever your core is up. You guys can see he's got his core ready. There's the fan, fire fan right there. You want to get the flame veil, and you want to get the fire buff up as soon as you possibly can, and then surge again when everything else is down, and then throw in your, whenever you do that skill right there, Sonic Stream, you want to make sure your core attack is available so you can get that core bonus, right, in terms of damage. You guys can see Ryan does that every single time. Masterfully, by the way, I might say. Well done, Ryan. And then, of course, there it is again. He does his Flame Veil. He gets off that extra bonus. And fire damage, you guys can see everything again, is now 40 stacks, 20. So when he breaks, when he goes to break phase, he's going to have all these stacks turn into Prey of the Week, which is going to give him more buffs, right? So it's going to help out. You guys can see he's maintaining that 10 Night Killer this time, and that extra bonus damage is coming in. There is Sonic Stream right there. Well, he's going to perform right now into a core attack, and then keeps going, right? So again, maintain this. There's Surge, and it's just rinse and repeat at this point, guys. You want to have as much good RNG as you possibly can. Build up your core. There is the Fire Fan again. Okay, there's Night Killer, and then back to rotation. Doing your QTEs, building up your core attacks, detonation. Okay, it's coming up for Fire Fan, and then Night Killer again. So you see it goes Fire Fan right into Night Killer, Surge, or Sonic Stream, into a core attack, and then right there. Continuously doing the same amount of damage. You guys can see he's already at 63 and there's a minute 28 left. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, right? Because the stronger the boss, or the more you kill the boss, the stronger he becomes. You want to make sure that Cha and Lee Bor are alive. They're a very, very heavy component to this build. And if they're not alive, you're going to actually suffer a lot of DPS. So especially with Lee Bor dying, it's because of her debuff that gives you more crit damage, and also provides you the Charm, which gives you 15% more damage. And also Cha, it's a pretty big deal because that Brandon debuff is incredible on the boss. So you guys can see now we got 65 stacks. Now this is going to be great damage increase for all the characters. This is where it gets crazy in regards to damage. The rotation doesn't change for you. You just got to make sure your fire team continuously stays alive and goes through it. So this is how it ends up working, guys. You can see 46 seconds. He's already got 72 rage. The boss does move a lot, right? And it's not that bad in this case because the fan has a good mobility. The only problem is sometimes when he's moving and you're casting Night Killer, you may actually miss that rotation and kind of screw up the order. But Ryan's doing this really well. I think the only real big mistake Ryan made here in the beginning was the lack of 10 stacks with Night Killer. That probably would have boosted his damage even further. But here you guys go. He's probably going to hit close to 80. Most likely 80, which is a really impressive score. And again, if you guys are big hitters and you're looking for a good community or somewhere to join, remember that myself and Zaf have combined our guilds. Now we're going to be one big guild, and we have some of the best players in the world playing the game together. Look at 81. 81, guys. That's my boy. That's my boy, Blue. And you guys can see most of that damage is coming from Sun Jinwoo and his setup. So there you guys go. I hope this helped out. Remember, Fire Fan, Night Killer, Detonation, Surge as your QTE, Sonic Stream, and no Shadow Steps. If you can build with this much defense pen, you don't need Shadow Step anymore. You're just going straight into DPS mode and not worrying about pressing any of the buttons, but continuing that same rotation as much as you possibly can. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Big shout out to Ryan again. Good luck, guys.